Welcome back to Nate the Hate, and today we're going to talk about the Game Awards and the conspiracy theory going around where there is apparently collusion within the Game Awards Advisory Committee and the nominees to ensure that a advisory board member's game was nominated a total of, I believe, 9 times for a Game Award, including Game of the Year, and the less severe account of a fighting game getting a nomination that is really making everyone scratch their heads. And we're going to start with the latter of the two. So Jump Force was nominated as a fighting game of the year, and it's making everyone scratch their head and wondering how could a game as mediocre as Jump Force even get a nomination. And my belief is simply that in 2019 there are only about 6 or 7 fighting games that actually saw release. And when you're given a ballot and asked to fill it out, which probably has up to, maybe 5 or 6 potential nominees, you probably just wrote down every single fighting game you could remember that released in 2019, and that's how you get a game like Jump Force on the list. Now, it is definitely a possibility that there were outlets who left Jump Force out and they only put on Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat 11, Samurai Showdown, and so forth. And there could have just been enough to cross that required threshold to nominate Jump Force. Now, ultimately, does its nomination really matter? No. It's not going to win. It's just kind of there. But it caused a lot of discussion of, well, why is it there? Why do they even have five nominees if only 4 of the fighting games are any good? And it's a valid discussion to have. But it feels like wasted energy towards a game that has no chance of winning. The real competition is going to come down to Smash Brothers, Samurai Showdown, and Mortal Kombat 11. That's where the votes are going to be mostly tabulated. Jump Force is just there. If it wasn't Jump Force, it would have been Power Rangers, another game that isn't really in the discussion for Fighting Game of the Year, so it really doesn't matter. Now for the more severe topic is that there is a belief that Hideo Kojima is using his influence as an advisory board member and friend of Jeff Keighley to get Death Stranding nominated 9 times at the Game Awards, particularly for Game of the Year. Now, this is a ludicrous accusation because the voting is conducted by 80 outlets from around the world. 80 outlets nominate and vote for the winners. And these outlets are from Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, Chile, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Mexico, the Middle East, Peru, Poland, Russia, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States. So the likelihood of Jeff Keighley influencing every single outlet from all around the world, all 80 outlets, and forcing them or swaying them to include Death Stranding is just an asinine assumption. But people believe it. They'll say, well, it had to happen. Why did it have to happen? And it's created quite the conversation because now some are saying, well, considering that Jeff Keighley has a cameo appearance in Death Stranding, does that mean the game should be disqualified from being nominated for an award at the Game Awards? Now, Jeff has no input on the winners or who is nominated. Now, they can argue, should it be disclosed that he's in the game? Yes, I have no argument against that. It should be disclosed he does have a cameo. But remember, he's the host of the show. He does not make any decision who wins. He did not nominate anybody. So his inclusion in the game ultimately does not influence the awards. And let's be honest, Death Stranding is going to be on a lot of websites and media's Game of the Year lists anyways. Are we going to then imply that Kojima was influencing every website that includes Death Stranding on their top 10 Game games of 2019 list? Of course not. So let's actually look at this logically and rationally and not be impulsive and reactionary. Death Stranding is a great game. It deserved its nominations based on its own merits. It's not getting these nominations because of Jeff Keighley. It's not getting these because Hideo Kojima reached out to every outlet or used Jeff Keighley to sway opinion about the game. Because that is a ridiculous assumption to make. And it's one that is backed by absolutely no evidence outside of just assumption and conspiracists. So, why is it happening? Is it happening just because the industry is divided right now, where you have people who say, well, I don't like that game, it's getting nominated for an award, the game I like is also up for, I want my game to win, your game has to lose, so it has to be a conspiracy? And people keep using the advisory board member, saying, well, Kojima is part of the advisory board for the Game Awards. Well, yes, he is. And so is Doug Bowser, and Phil Spencer, and Phil Harrison, and Rockstar Games, and Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Valve. Are they all using their influence as heads of companies or as publishing labels and developers to ensure a game under their label is going to win one of the categories? It's an all or nothing situation. You can't solely accuse Hideo Kojima of using influence, but everyone else on the advisory board isn't doing anything at all. I'm going to conclude this video with a quote from Chris Hackney, who was the voice of Dimitri from Fire Emblem Three Houses. With the news of the nominees coming out today, he took to Twitter and he gave this very nice, sensible, and encouraging message. He said, "A lot of great games are nominated, and congrats to all of them. My take on it is, a game doesn't need some shiny trophy or medal to be great. As long as people love Fire Emblem Three Houses, that's the best honor we could all ask for. I genuinely don't want anyone to be upset if their favorite game or actor wasn't nominated. Be happy for the games and people who were, and remember how amazing it is for us as gamers. The fact that so many incredible hits come out every year makes us all very lucky."